for supporting and for being here. Come with me out to the old churchyard. I so well know those paths neath the soft green sward. Friends slumber in there that we want to regard. We will trace out their names in the old churchyard. Mourn not for them, for their trials are o'er, and why weep for those who will weep no more? For sweet is their sleep, though cold and hard, their pillows lay deep in the old churchyard. And I know that it's in vain when our friends depart to breathe kind words to a broken heart. And I know that the joy of life, it is marred when we follow lost friends to the old churchyard. But were I at rest neath yonder tree, oh, why would you weep, my friends, for me? I'm so weary, so worn. Why would you retard the peace that I seek in the old churchyard? And why weep for me? For I'm anxious to go to that haven of rest where no tears ever flow. And I fear not to enter that dark, lonely tomb where our Savior has lain and has conquered the gloom. I rest in the hope that one bright day sunshine will burst through these prisons of clay, and old Gabriel's trumpet and the voice of the Lord will wake up the dead in the old churchyard. I rest in the hope that one bright day sunshine will burst through these prisons of clay, and old Gabriel's trumpet and the voice of the Lord will wake up the dead in the old churchyard. Thanks for being here and helping Bucky make it through. I'm doing this for everybody who has pitched in toward our success today. So I'm gonna be constantly looking over at our beloved cat because he's curled up right next to me. He's doing the cinnamon bun kind of look. So here's a Scottish song about the return of Scottish as a language and the celebration. It's what they call a walking song. So Hiúra was noro eile falilo iluvilo. Hulmasha scale bin falilo iluvilo. Hiúra was noro eile falilo iluvilo. An erich mich moch marin hechen falilo eruilo Jura vos noro ele falilo eluilo Achar vain kainchna fein falilo eluilo Jura vos noro ele falilo eluilo Chayet crinje kjaune chele falilo eluilo Jura vos noro ele falilo iluilo Garav kashke yesereri falilo iluilo Jura vos noro ele falilo iluilo Anses kolchem mari berla falilo iluilo Jura vos noro ele falilo iluilo Shutandanya rain flame when falilo iluilo Jura vos noro ele falilo iluilo Togalanya gagas shestia falilo iluilo Jura vos noro ele falilo iluilo Arachiare gasnas veren falilo iluilo Jura vos noro ele falilo iluilo Leshna gailska karnje teje falilo iluilo Jura vos noro ele falilo iluilo Jura vos noro ele falilo iluilo Rishel makan taishe chliste falilo iluilo Jura vos noro ele falilo iluilo Togalanya gagas shestia falilo iluilo Jura vos noro ele falilo iluilo Leshna gailska gadnje teje falilo iluilo Jura vos noro ele falilo iluilo Jura vos noro ele falilo iluilo. Thanks much. Questions? Feel free to ask them in the chat. Bucky, yes. Feel free to pitch into. I have PayPal, or I have Venmo, and I can put it in the description. ameliaisaverb at Gmail or at Amelia-Hogan-3 for, I think, Venmo. I wanted to sort of switch gears into another song from my most recent album. And so we'll have some selections from a project I am currently in process with some of our favorite musicians from before, and some tonight for existent songs on a recording that was released just in 2022 for our Kickstarter backers and for the main world. We did our radio release in March of 2023. So, dear thoughts are in my mind, and my soul, it soars enchanted, and I hear the sweet lark sing in the clear air of day. For tender beaming smile to my hope has been granted, and tomorrow he shall hear all my fond heart longs to say. I will tell him all my love, all my soul's pure adoration, and I know He will hear my voice, and He will not answer nay. For it is this that gives my soul all its joyous elation, as I hear the sweet lark sing in the clear air of day. Thanks so much. Now, there's a song called Home by Barna, which I'm very fond of, and it's one I actually played with the kids from last year's Irish Kids Summer Camp at the United Irish Cultural Centre. We're going to have a lot of the same fabulous instructors back this year, and I'm really excited to be joining them for a song-filled excursion across and around Ireland this year. And this song details a little bit of what happens when you know the main path home, the main road, the easy way is not the way to make it home safely. So there's a little bit of like the magic of place and what it is to know a place so well that you know that the tough way is the way to get home. So in Scarta Glen there lived a lass, and every Sunday after Mass she would go and take a glass before going home by Barna. We won't go home along the road for fear that we might act the rogue. Won't go home along the road, but we'll go home by Barna. We won't go home along the shore for fear we hear the banshee roar, and won't go home along the shore, but we'll go home by Barna. We won't go home around the glen for fear the she might rise again. Won't go home around the glen, but we'll go home by Barna. We won't go down the mill, for in the night is bright we might be seen. We won't go down the mill, boring, but we'll go home by Barna. We won't go home across the bog for fear we might meet Kearney's dog, and won't go home across the bog, but we'll go home by Barna. We won't go home along the rain, the Sioux will catch us in the rain. Won't go home along the main, but we'll go home by Barna. And won't go home around the strand, we might disturb the fairy band. Won't go home along the strand, but we'll go home by Barna. We won't go home across the fields, the big thornings would stick our heels. We won't go home across the fields, but we'll go home by Barna. We won't go home across the bog for fear we might meet Kearney's dog, and won't go home across the bog, but we'll go home by Barna. In Scarta Glen there lived a lass, and every Sunday after Mass she would go and take a glass before going home by Barna. So that song, Barna is a mountain pass, and I will put in the chat after or maybe later. Thanks so much for the thumbs up. Those always help the cause to get where we're hoping to go. I also wanted to sing about some hard stuff. And this song, more than ever, makes me think of the work we have as artists cut out for us in times of trouble and genocide and woe and war. This is a song by Alan McGee called Singing in the Dark Times. And he released it in the middle of the pandemic as things were getting really ugly. And I needed to hear it. So I thought that's the kind of thing that needs to be heard. Anyway. Will there be singing in the dark times to come? Will brash unbridled evil cloud our wits and strike us numb? Will there be rhythms and harmonies and rhymes? Will there be songs? Will we be singing in the dark times? When empathy is wrong and wrath is right, when a ghastly shroud blacks out the sun and turns the day to night, when malice is a virtue and grace a sin, when it's all turned outside in and upside in, when facts are banned and we're left with only lies, when we hear the wildfires crackle and watch the waters rise, when violence against a woman is excused, when our planet's final plea has been refused. Will there be singing in the dark times to come? Will brash unbridled evil cloud our wits and strike us dumb? Will there be rhythms and harmonies and rhymes? Will there be songs? Will we be singing in the dark times? When the weak are blamed for everything that's wrong, when we watch the dispossession of the ones that don't belong, when the poor and sick can die if they can't pay, when our plans for a better world have blown away, when the demons have been loosed and dressed like men. They were only names in a history book, but they've come back again with playthings that they've never had before. So I'm gonna sing until I can't sing anymore. There will be singing in the dark times to come, and we won't let evil cloud our wits, nor will it strike us dumb. We'll have rhythms and harmonies and rhymes. There will be songs, and we'll be singing in the dark times. There will be songs, and we'll be singing in the dark times. Thanks so much. Oh, yeah. I think that's been giving me a lot of thought and a lot of hope lately, is just how much. Yeah. Thanks, Zoe. Leaves are falling and turning to showers of gold. The postman climbs up our long hill, and there's sympathy written all over his place as he hands me a couple more bills. And who will watch the home place? Who will tend my heart's dear space? Who will fill my empty place when I am gone from here? There's a lovely green nook by a clear running stream. It was my place when I was quite small, and its creatures and sounds could soothe my worst pains, but today they don't ease me at all. And who will watch the home place? Who will tend my heart's dear space? And who will fill my warm embrace when I am far from here? In my grandfather's shed there are hundreds of tools, and I know them by feel and by name. And like parts of my body, they've patched this old place. When I move them, they won't be the same. And who will watch the home place? Who will tend my heart's dear space? And who will fill my warm embrace when I am gone from here? Now I wander around, touching each blessed thing, the chimney, the tables, the trees, and my memories swirl around me like birds on the wing. When I leave here, oh, who will I be? Oh, who will watch the home place? Who will tend my heart's dear space? And who will fill my empty place when I am gone from here? Thanks so much for sticking around. I was thinking of doing a song called Keg of Brandy that I got from my friend Krista Birch. I learned from her, and it was written by someone else I had the good fortune to sing with a number of years ago. There's a guy named Robbie O'Connell, and he wrote a beautiful song. I'm always drunk and I'm seldom sober. I'm a constant roving from town to town. Ah, but I'm old now, my sporting's over. So Molly a store, won't you lay me down? Just lay my head on a keg of brandy. It is my fancy, I do declare. For when I'm drinking, I'm seldom thinking on lovely Molly from the County Clare. Oh, the ripest apple is the soonest rotten, and the warmest love is the soonest cold. And a young man's fancies are soon forgotten, so beware, young mates, and don't make so bold. Just lay my head on a keg of brandy. It is my fancy, I do declare. For when I'm drinking, I'm seldom thinking on lovely Molly from the County Clare. It's youth and folly makes young men merry, and makes them tarry a long, long day. What can't be cured, love, must be endured, love. So farewell, darling, I am going away. Just lay my head on a keg of brandy. It is my fancy, I do declare. For when I'm drinking, I'm seldom thinking on lovely Molly from the County Clare. Just lay my head on a keg of brandy. It is my fancy, I do declare. For when I'm drinking, I'm always thinking on lovely Molly from the County Clare. Thanks so much for joining. I have maybe one or two more, I think. if that seems okay to whoever is here with me. I'm going to stick with, one that I don't often do, except I get to kind of with my group that's traveling soon, so it'll be much kickier, much peppier when I have the full band with me, and they're fabulous. So if you know people in the Pacific Northwest, I would not be sad to hear in Messenger or in comments for the ticket link. This is May 17th, 2024, but if I catch you in the next week, I'll be able to send you details about the shows coming up next week for Northwest Folklife in Portland, Oregon, and in Roseburg. So anyway, near Bainbridge Town in the county down one morning last July, down a boring green came a sweet calling, and she smiled as she passed me by. She looked so sweet from her two bare feet to the crown of her nut brown hair, such a winsome mouth that I pinched myself for to see she was really there. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the brown colleen that I met in the county down. And she onward sped, sure I shook my head, and I looked with a feeling rare. I says I to a passer-by, who's the maid with the nut brown hair. He smiled at me and he says he, she's the gem of Ireland's crown. Young Rosie McCann from the banks of the Bann, she's the star of the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the sweet Colleen that I met in the county down. At the harvest fair she'll be surely there, so I'll dress in my Sunday clothes, with my shoes shined bright, and my hat cocked right, for a smile from the nut brown rose. No pipe I'll smoke, no horse I'll yoke, till my plough is a rust-coloured brown, and a smiling bright by my own fireside sits the star of the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the sweet Colleen that I met in the county down. Yeah. Thank you both so much. It's nice to see thumbs ups. It's nice to see positive responses. You never know, because you're singing to the little green light until you look a little more closely. So this is one more song that I'm planning to record in my next project about, and I'll tell people more about that on my social medias. But here we go. I'm going to finish out with Bay of Fundy. And actually, I think I can do a little something fun here by going off camera for a second and pulling out an instrument. This is just for you, so I hope you like it. I hope this works well. I think it will. Here we go. Maybe like this. You can kind of see the... here we go. Okay. All you main men proud and young, when you've run your easting down, don't go down to Fundy Bay, she'll wear your time away. Fundy's long and Fundy's wide, Fundy's fog and rain and tide, never see the sun or sky, just a green wave passing by. Cape Sable's horn blows all day long. I wonder why, I wonder why. Cape Bretton's bells ring the swells, they ring for me, they ring for me. You know I would rather ride the Grenfell Strait or the Breton Tide, spend my days in the Labrador, and never see old Fundy's shore. Give her stays, oh give her main, in the darkness and the rain. I don't mind the wet and cold, I just don't like the growing old. Cape Breton's bells ring the swells, they ring for me, they ring for me. Cape Sable's horn blows all day long. I wonder why, I wonder why. East by north or east northeast, give her what she steers the best. I don't want this foggy wave to be my far and lonely grave. Cape Sable's horn blows all day long. I wonder why, I wonder why. Cape Breton's bells ring the swells, they ring for me, they ring for me. Thanks so much for joining me on a Friday evening. That was a little bit of a taster of some of the fun things that we'll be seeing on our trip north, and also a little bit of a taster of some things that'll show up on the next recording project out at Foxtail Sound Studios. And thanks for helping out with Bucky. And he goes back to the vet on Monday, so we get to look at the blood work and make a plan for the future.